Welcome to Talk Purpose and Truth, shifting you into higher consciousness. A show that elevates, uplifts, and encourages listeners to grow, heal, awaken, and evolve. Eden and Kim include bold topics, interviews with inspiring guests, experts, and celebrities, intuitive readings, channeled messages, mental health awareness, and hot topics to expand your awareness. Tune in for unprecedented truth, authenticity, on-purpose discussions, and magic.
Back with Brett Kenyon about Vanderpump Rules and about understanding your own psychic or intuitive abilities and being an empath. And just wanted to do a quick reminder that if you're interested in becoming a life coach, go to kimlifecoach.com/certification for more info. And I want to go right into it and welcome back Brett. Thanks for being here, Brett.
Thanks for having me.
So repeat your question that we asked him back in part 1.
Oh, yeah. So there was a scene in the trailer, the mid-season trailer, and it showed that you were fighting with Schwartz. I think it showed that you had your arm around Raquel. I know that's going to come up in a future episode. But since we have you here, can you tell us what happened, why you guys were fighting?
I can't tell you what happened. I'm so sorry. You have to watch the show. But it does have to do with me defending Raquel, and it has to do with Katie not being very nice to me. So that's
well, that's par for the course, but yeah. I'm trying not to say anything bad about anyone.
now knowing how Raquel betrayed Ariana and all that was going on at the time, which none of us knew about, I wouldn't have. Now I'm going to look like an idiot on TV if they air that, but we'll see. We'll see how they edit it, because you never know.
Well, I noticed that Ariana defended Raquel in a couple episodes ago. So I was like, oh my gosh, she must have been just kicking herself. Like, she's her.
Ariana was such a good friend to Raquel and literally always had her back 100%. So I think that's why everyone feels so betrayed. I mean, obviously, especially Ariana, not just betrayal from her boyfriend, but from her one of her best friends that she had her back for years. I think that's what's so upsetting.
Yeah. And
likable, and we had her on our show and she was so down to earth. And remember, she even fell backwards in her chair and she just laughed and got back up and was like, oh yeah, that's just me. She was no ego. And I think that's why she's getting a lot of positive attention from all this, is because it's easy to like her.
Yes, she's so likable and she's so sweet and she's so just she loves everyone, she's so welcoming.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure deep down she's hurting a lot, but she really is getting so much support. I just saw today that she's now going to be a sponsor for a company that sells vibrators. I think aside from the movie role that she got on Lifetime, so in that way she's really going to be okay, because I think this is going to make open up a lot of doors for her. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Can you talk about how you are now with some of these people? Like when you were upset with Katie back then, are you cool with her now? Can you talk about that?
Katie and I don't talk.
Okay.
You'll see if they air what she said to me. I don't talk to her.
But did you before?
We talked at parties and stuff like that, but
okay.
she likes to act like she doesn't know who people are after she's met them many times. So it's fine. She's on her vibration and I'm on my vibration, and we're not meant to be friends. So
right.
So overall, Brett, what did you feel like when you started becoming friends with them? Did you like the idea that, they're all on a show and this is exciting and we get some media attention, or were you kind of like whatever, or you didn't like it? How do you overall feel about that?
Honestly, I don't really care. They just became my friends. I got the job just because I wanted money, to be honest. I'd never watched Vanderpump Rules. I had seen, I think the first season I had watched with my roommate in 2013, when I had just graduated college, moved in with this girl, and I think that's when it first first aired, and we were bartending together, and she's like, "Oh, there's a new show about bartenders. We should watch it." So I think I'd watched a couple episodes with her, but yeah, I mean, like, of course, it's fun. We get to do fun things, but I think from the get go, from the first day at Tom Tom, there's cameras around, and like you kind of know what you're signing up for. So it's not like, I don't know. You're around a lot of egos though, so I think it's helped like guide me in my spiritual world of like how not to act, how you know what I mean. There's certain levels of personalities in that group that it's helped me to grow as a person. So I think that's cool to see, like see how different people handle different situations in the spotlight, and it's been a good learning experience being friends with these people.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah.
That's what he just asked me, because I did a lot of stuff in Hollywood and media in the past, and somebody just asked me a question about that on someone else's podcast, and said that when I was younger, being around a lot of egos taught me what I didn't want. Like I was like, oh my gosh, why are they acting like that? I don't understand. And it just showed what I didn't want. And I saw an example of it. It was interesting because I saw the girl, I can't think of her name, but the girl who's playing Ariel in the new Disney movie. And she was so down to earth and gracious and just so grateful for her role, like in the interview. And then I saw the girl I went to see Jimmy Kimmel Live the other day. And what is her name? The one that was in West Side Story, and she's going to be in the live Snow White. I can't think of her name right now, but Rachel Zegler. And she's only like 22 or something like that. And I'm sure she's fine. But in the interview, 2 different times in this little short interview, she was like, oh, yeah, I just can't. Like, it's so annoying when I'm in line for Snow White. There's just like all these fans wanting photos, and I can't even like enjoy it. And I hope next time I go on the ride, that doesn't happen. And then she talked about another time where fans were like mobbing her and she couldn't handle it. And gosh, it'll become this ripple effect if I say yes to everybody. And it just sounded so ego to me. And I go, wow, like it's so apparent when somebody isn't down to earth and just in tune with themselves. And so I think sometimes it's a learning, all of this is such a learning experience for you too, because of the work you're meant to do. I'm just stating the work you're meant to do, even though you haven't decided.
No, I think you're right. Like for sure, like all the different personalities and stuff, it's taught me a lot. And it's funny because Sheena and I, like I remember when we first hung out one-on-one, the first thing we did was talk about mediums, and I watched her episode that she did with Tyler Henry, and we really bonded over that. And like I've always had so many like great spiritual nights with Sheena and Jamie, and we're so in tune with that stuff. And we always talk about signs and synchronicities. So with Sheena, we've always been on the same wavelength. I think that's why we became friends the quickest out of that group. But yeah, I think I will eventually go down some kind of intuitive path. But I think I'll mesh it with entertainment, which is my passion, obviously, and writing and acting and all that stuff. But I did have a reading in 2020 that I'm pretty sure Sheena and Jamie had gifted it to me for my birthday. And the first thing she says, I have it recorded. She goes, I see you have a lot of spirituality, and you're definitely going to do, I don't know, she said like Reiki healing or some kind of intuitive work for a career. And that was about like 2 months before I went through my spiritual awakening. So I was like, no, that's not right. I was like, although I have been like getting into like The Secret and manifesting and stuff like that. So that's kind of funny that she said that.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I mean, how old are you?
31.
Yeah, I started really opening up and doing readings when I was 30. Like, and before that, I was, kind of learning about everything, but I was still a little bit afraid of it. And then I started to do readings at around 30. How old were you, Eden?
Yeah, I think doing it for other people, it's been 13 years. So how old was I? Someone do the math for me.
In your 30s.
In my 30s. So yeah, but I was experimenting with it earlier because I knew that I could do it. But yeah, that's what you're leading up to. I know it.
Yeah. I met you in person and I was already sensing. So
Really? Yeah, I think
yeah.
I just need to stop being scared about it, and I think I'm mostly scared about what people think. But that's
Yeah.
another thing that I learned from Vanderpump people is that you don't care what people think.
Yeah.
The stuff that they do on that show, they really can't care what people think. Everyone has an opinion. People have haters, and like, so I guess that's another thing that I can take from being around that whole group is to not really care what people think. Everyone has an opinion. So,
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Have you had haters or people talking now that this has all been happening?
um, there is a couple like when it first broke out, there was a couple like mean messages that I got just from people knowing that I was friends with Raquel, or they would like go through my old photos and find photos or videos of us and like comment mean things. But that only lasted like 2 days. People have been pretty supportive, I think. Like I've gotten a lot of messages like, "Hey, please tell Ariana this. Give her our love." And yeah, besides the one time at Tom Tom when I was serving a table and someone said something kind of rude, that was about it.
That's good. Would you be on the show if they asked you?
They wouldn't ask me, but I don't think so. It's too low vibe for me.
Yeah.
But I like filming and doing stuff with them, but it would have to really be under the right circumstances. Like,
Yeah, I understand. I got asked to be on Housewives of OC years ago, and I same reason I didn't do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Um, okay. So what about I have want to go back. I want to know this is probably going to be a really stupid question, but I've never asked you before. Do you know Lisa Vanderpump? Did you ever interact with her?
yeah, of course. I mean, I always ask when people are like, "Have you met Lisa?" I'm like, "Have you ever met your boss?"
So she's like, well, but she's not. Well, I guess she is your boss.
I got to film at her house last summer, so she loves Belle Gloss Pinot Noir. It's her favorite. I brought her bottle and we hung out at her house for the afternoon for a little party. But it's not like I'm like friends with Lisa. She's just
Yeah.
here. If I see her at the restaurant, I say hi, and if I have to serve her or work.
Yeah. I saw her once at Pump and she wasn't nice to me.
Really? I met her husband and he came up to me at Sir and
Uh-huh.
said, "Daughter,
Oh.
Ken." He goes, "Excuse me." He goes, "You remind me of my daughter. What's her name? Pandora."
Dora.
I was like, "Well, that's nice."
I think Lisa got a lot friendlier with guests and even staff, I noticed, just from working for there for so long after the pandemic, because I think the pandemic really put things into perspective for them.
Yeah, I think so many people changed so much in so many ways, not just like physically, but also like I think mentally just changed so many people. And I think it opened a lot of people's eyes. There's a lot of people who went through awakenings. Which leads me to my next topic. We want to go back to your dreams because there was one in particular that you shared with me a story that was really interesting. And it was about the one where you had a dream where, and then the next day you went to the place you had a dream about, and like every little thing that happened in your dream.
Yeah, it was a Taylor Swift rave that I went with my friend who's actually a Reiki healer in Long Beach. And and on the car ride there, I she has her own weed edibles like that, her own company. And so she gave me one and weed tends to like open up my abilities or whatever. And so I had to remember that I had my dream again. It was kind of like a very faint thing, but um I just kind of like knew what she was about to say. When we got there, I was like, oh, there's going to be a really long line. And I was like, the bouncer gets mad at us for something. And so we got up there and then we realized we didn't have our IDs out. And the bouncer yelled at us and was like, why don't you have your IDs out? Blah, blah, blah. And like all this stuff just kept happening through the night where I was like, hey, this is about to happen. And I would say it and it would happen. And she was like, oh man, like you're onto something here. And one of the things that I had said was I think like we're gonna meet Jade Jolie, who's this famous drag queen who's a Taylor Swift impersonator. She was in one of Taylor Swift's music videos. And so that was a couple weeks ago. And oddly enough, on Friday in Las Vegas, we get into the line to grab a beer before the show, and right in front of us is Jade, that drag queen, and were like, oh my God, hey, like start talking, and we became friends, and they added me on Instagram. So I was like, I was definitely channeling something that night. It's so interesting.
And what happened at the bar that night when you I just love this story. You got to tell us. When you said that you went in and it was like a club or something you went to and she didn't know where the bathroom was and you told her because it was in your dream and then the thing about people taking your water.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I just like I'd never been there before, but I just knew exactly where the bathroom was, even without the signage and no one there. Like I was like, oh, it's this way and this way and this way. And she was like, how do you know? I'm like, I just remember it from my dream. And then I'd gotten a water bottle and put it down for a second, and someone had taken it. And so I went back up to the bartender, and I said to my friend Maggie first, I was like, I'm pretty sure she gives me a free bottle of water, but I also remember her trying to charge me, so I'm not sure what happens. And so I go up and I tell her, hey, like I just got a bottle of water, but someone took it. And so she goes and grabs another one, and she's like, that'll be $28. And I was like, what, $28? Like, she's like, yeah, for the inconvenience fee or whatever. And she was obviously joking, made a joke, and she laughed. And like in that moment when she laughed, it was like I remember just being like, oh my God, I've literally lived this in my dream. Like I remember exactly like as it's happened right before it happened. Like I don't know, it's so weird to describe. It's just pretty much like living deja vu is what it feels like.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever tried saying before you go to bed, can I receive answers to things in my dreams? Like asking for what you want?
I haven't, but maybe I should try that.
Yeah. Sometimes doing that, or like if you're stressed out or anxious about something, asking for everything to calm down and process while you sleep. Sometimes you wake up with new solutions. And yeah, a lot of times it is what Eden said earlier, is just asking and saying, what is my gut telling me about this? Or can I have answers to this? And a lot of times we just forget to ask, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
with the you say about doing the edibles or mushrooms, but do you think that it could be that it's just reducing our inhibitions, and if you did it sober, you might even get clearer as soon as you just let go of any of the residual fear that you have?
Yeah, I mean, I've done reading sober, and I've predicted a lot of things. Like I have friends that can vouch for me, and I've done it completely sober. So I know I can do it, but I know like if I am high, it just flows and I don't even have to think about it. I don't even have to meditate. Like if I'm sober, I have to meditate and then I get answers. But like if I'm high, it's like boop, 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 boop. Like, in Vegas this weekend, I was just going up to everyone and knowing everything, and people were like, what the F? And I had never done that before.
Well, that's kind of fun.
It was fun. I like went up to this one lady. I was like, "You have 5 kids, don't you?" And she goes, "No, I have 4 kids." And I was like, "No," I was like, "I'm being told you have 5." And I was like, "And it's like one of them's a girl." And she just started crying. She was like, "My first one was a miscarriage, um, and I thought it was gonna be a girl." And so I was like, you're supposed to. I think you're supposed to acknowledge her. The soul is like watching over your kids. And in that moment, I felt like I got a message actually about Sheena, because
Mm.
when Sheena's for her first pregnancy, I was the first person to find out. I was literally had just gotten the Palm Springs. Sheena was like, yo, I did not get my period. Can you go to CVS and get me some pregnancy sticks so I don't get seen by anyone? And she was pregnant, and then shortly after she had her miscarriage, and I just remember being like, oh wow, like maybe I was supposed to go through that with her so I could, because that really affected me, that miscarriage, and because I was literally there with her from day one when she found out.
Mm.
And she's been so vocal about miscarriages, and I feel like because she has the platform, like she raises awareness about it, but I feel like people need to know. I don't know what you guys believe, but I think after getting whatever message I received this weekend is that like sometimes these souls are just there to then become like little spirit guides or
Yeah,
protectors.
you
Yeah.
got it. You're right about that.
And you'll see actually since we're talking about Vanderpump Rules, you'll see this season when Sheena walks down the aisle, because Summer, her daughter, is her rainbow baby, a huge rainbow just goes over the sky as Sheena walks down the aisle to somewhere over the rainbow. It was not raining that day. It was like, it gave me chills, and I was like, that was a sign from the universe, and it was so beautiful.
So that I knew about the rainbow coming out, but I didn't know that song was playing at the same time.
She walked down the aisle to somewhere over the rainbow.
Oh my
So I feel like
gosh.
the message that I received in Vegas, it connects directly to Sheena, and I actually still have to call her and tell her. I haven't talked to her about it yet, but yeah, I was getting a lot of weird messages like that, and I mean, I could go more into it if you want, but
Yeah. Well,
uh,
wait. First, I just want to say, as far as Sheena goes with the rainbows, I know personally as well that her decor for Summer's room for her nursery was all rainbow stuff too.
yeah,
Because I don't know if everybody knows this, but what a rainbow baby is. But Kim, do you know what that is?
I don't know offhand.
So I think it's that when you have a miscarriage, the next baby you have is your rainbow baby.
yeah,
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So she refers to Summer as her rainbow baby. So rainbows, though, it's very, very significant for Sheena. And that's incredible that the big rainbow came out right behind where they stood up to get married while that song was playing. Oh my gosh. That
yeah,
means so much. Okay. Just had to say that.
yeah.
Uh,
Totally, that gave me chills.
that they are meant to be.
Yeah, totally. It was a great sign from the universe.
Yeah.
Um, there's a bunch of other stories this weekend that I'm sure I'll share with you eventually, but one of them that was significant was like Backstreet Boys started playing, and I was like just heard like a voice to be like, text my friend Christy, who she loves the Backstreet Boys, and I was like, I feel like I have a message from you from your mom, and she wants to say that she was there for the birth of your son, and she's there every day, and she's showing me like sitting in your living room watching the kids, and her mom had passed away 2 years ago. But what I didn't know is that Tuesday, tomorrow, is her mom's 2 year anniversary of passing.
Mm.
And while I was giving the message, the song changed from Backstreet Boys to Spice Girls, and she said it was a song that her and her mom used to like sing together um, when she was younger. And so she said to me also that that day there was this moth that she's from Hawaii. And that there's a moth that just sat at their dinner table all night. And I guess in Hawaii they believe that moths are like your ancestors or something. She was telling me. So yeah, the whole timing was weird, and just stuff like that. I'm getting more in tune with, but I don't know if I can do it sober yet.
So I think a lot of people who are coming into their own abilities probably have very similar experiences. I know I did, Kim, I think you did.
Mhm.
So this just all of this, it is all happening like more and more for you. And it just tells me that you're so close that if you want to embrace it, that's all you have to do is just choose it and it's gonna explode. And
And
you will be able to do it sober.
well, and it's important to note that, we've talked about this before, but everybody has, I mean, I've been doing it for almost 20 years and I still have days where I'm doubting. I'm like, oh, I must be off today. And then the person later is like, oh, yeah, I totally resonated. And so then you're like, oh, it's my own ego coming through
Mhm.
trying to me that I'm wrong. And so we have to remind ourselves when it comes most of the time you find out that you're right, then you shouldn't be doubting yourself so much, but sometimes the ego will continue to try to bring you down and go, no, that's wrong, you're crazy, that kind of thing.
You're
That's,
going crazy.
that's how I'm
Yeah.
feeling today. That's exactly how I'm feeling today. I called my mom. I was like, I think this whole weekend I just was crazy, and she's like, no, there's too much that made sense for it to just be that you're crazy.
Yeah, he called me like several times over the weekend or texted me like, I think I'm going crazy.
Yeah, when the shooting thing, like when I was channeling that, I called you freaking out. That was dark. I had never experienced anything like that. But
Yeah, and then I did tell you, but I'll say it again on here is that I know I did this because my grandmother was a medium who worked with the FBI to help find missing children, and her stuff was very dark. And I think it actually made her that way as well. And I had one experience probably, I don't know, 6 years ago or something, where another dream where they came to me because there was like a serial killer that they were trying to find currently or during that time. And some of the people that he killed came to me in the dream, and then they showed me where he was hiding. And he was there. They ended up finding him there. But it scared me because it was too dark. I didn't
Mhm.
like that. And ever since then, I put it out there. I kind of set the boundary that I will no longer do this kind of stuff. Like I only want messages that will be healing for people, healing and loving,
Yeah,
and whatever's of the light. That's it.
right.
And then ever since it hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So they listen to you, but so that's something you can control. Yeah.
That's good to know because I felt like I had a message this weekend that wasn't another one that wasn't the best, and I was like, huh, I wonder why I got that. But now I know to like only ask for good messages.
Right.
Right.
And even tuning in, like one of the challenges I think too is tuning in. Like you may go somewhere and get all these messages for people, but there may be some people who don't want to know it. And so tuning in with your intuition, like, am I meant to tell this person? Or just, it's okay to just kind of maybe energetically send it to them if you think it might not be received well.
Hmm, that's cool.
So you're learning. It's
I did make this one guy's day. I felt really called to him, and I was like, "Hey," I was like, "I'm pretty sure you're gonna walk in New York Fashion Week." And he was like, "What?" And he was young, and I was like, "Where do you live? Do you live in New York?" And he was like, "No, I live in Idaho. I'm graduating college in 2 months, though." And he's like, "I do want to work in entertainment, but he's like, I can't decide where I want to move after college." And I was like, "You definitely should move to New York City." I was like, "I'm feeling really confident about this." And he was like, "That's crazy that you just came up to me because I literally just have been thinking this whole week, like, where am I gonna move in the next 2 months?" So
oh, come on.
it
Yeah.
was
You
confident.
So I want to ask something different. I love how you're really going into your spiritual side and your intuitive side, and then you also are cool with talking about the Vanderpump stuff, and then you also are known for having these really funny TikTok and Instagram videos that get a lot of attention. And me and Eden both are very big on having that balance. Like when someone's too out there and spiritual all the time, or never watching TV, and they're just always spiritual, you're not really grounded. Like you have to kind of
Right.
have some humor and, not always take yourself so seriously. So can you talk about those videos?
Yeah. I started doing them over the pandemic. I would take like song lyrics and like make like funny sketches out of them. I kind of stopped in the last 10 months because I was working for a celebrity doing her social media and giving her all my ideas. So I finally quit that job. And actually, it was like a nice sign from the universe. I quit the job, and 2 days later, that whole mid-season trailer came out, and I was in every freaking tabloid: TMZ, Us Weekly, Entertainment Tonight. So I quit because I want to get back to doing my own content and making people laugh. And I think that making people laugh is a form of energy healing. So
Yeah.
maybe I think also like I also am a singer. I grew up doing like musicals and stuff like that, and I'm recently getting into songwriting, and the universe has brought a lot of people into my life recently that are all in the music industry. And I feel that I'm sometimes able to, like when I'm writing, like it's like channeling lyrics that aren't mine. Well, they are mine, but you know what I mean? Like it feels like something higher sometimes is helping me. And
Uh,
I think that's with a lot of artists. That's what I believe. So
yeah.
maybe like I'm gonna blend it all together. We'll see. I don't know. Good to have
Yeah,
it. You're right. The balance is important.
that's very cool. Yeah, and you can, there's differences of, you could be getting messages from, past loved ones or guides or God or the universe, but you also might just be getting the energy in the world of just thoughts, and what's out there that's meant for you sometimes will just come to you through your higher self. You
Mhm.
know, already was there for you, but you have to be open and pull it in. So
Totally.
Yeah. You're doing it.
yeah.
Yeah. You are like so much further along than when we first met. And this was like so new to you. When we first met, actually, it was when Jamie was having, and Jamie is Jamie. What's her last name? I can't remember now.
Jamie Lynn.
Yeah, Jamie Lynn.
She usually doesn't like her last name out there.
I know. Okay, that's why I don't remember.
Just Jamie Lynn.
Jamie Lynn. Anyways, so she was like you, and she has her own abilities, but not really like open to them much. But I was trying to help her a little bit, and so she asked Brett to come and help me. Like he was being the client for me or for her. So she did like a mock reading for him. But at that time, I think it was like so new for you. Oh no, it wasn't. You have had it before. You had readings before that, right?
I had readings weren't new to me, but it was like maybe 2 weeks before I went through my spiritual awakening, which I went through my spiritual awakening when I was in Mexico. And I believe it was a guy who actually ignited it. I think he was like we felt like we knew each other in a past life, and it was intense, but it awakened something in me that weekend.
Okay. Well, you have been a good you were a good guinea pig at the time, and now like look at how much you've like just totally flourished and come into your own. I think you're like way further along than you really give yourself credit for. I just wanted to compliment you.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of what you've said this episode and last episode have been very insightful, and I think it will help a lot of people.
Thank you for listening to Talk Purpose and Truth podcast. Find out more at talkpurposeandtruth.com. And follow us at Talk Purpose Truth on Instagram and Facebook.